So tonight we're gonna do a dive into what is a NOC code, what is TEER, and why is this important to you? And I have to admit the topic is very dry, but there's a lot of information. I encourage you to either take screenshots, and we will also provide you with the recording. And if you want a copy of the actual slide deck, we can do that as well. Just send us an email, and we will provide you with the slide deck. So I'm going to ask the question to the participants: why are NOC codes important? So if you don't even know what a NOC code is, just say I don't know. But based on your knowledge of NOC codes, why are the National Occupational Classification codes important?
So we're waiting up for the responses. Soshin, if you want to respond, you can go to menti.com, enter the code, and I know you just answered. It shows the skills level. Okay. So you've got, it helps with PR. Yeah, it helps with the PR.
Yeah, that's probably the key thing for if you're an international student, is that you need to know about NOC codes because it's important for you once you move over to PR.
Yeah.
And also it's important because it looks at classification of jobs, and we're going to get into that in the next couple of slides. But I think the key message for you is that you need to know NOC, because your immigration consultant, your immigration lawyer, once you have your postgraduate work permit, it all ties in back to the National Occupational Classification Code. Okay, let's move on to the next.
It looks like a lot of people know about job classifications, or what is a job classification?
Well, I'd like to start off that discussion with, what is a classification? And a classification is a system, and we all know about classifications with animals, a cat, a dog, a fox, a tiger. So that's a classification. Classification with numbers, the integers versus all the the whole numbers. And then we have other classifications here. And one that I put up that I like to use is for movies. We have different classifications, and it's all coded. So that's what the National Occupation Classification Code is. It's to classify occupations into different categories, and they've all been assigned a code. Okay. So the next question, well, what is a NOC? Well, the NOC is just an acronym for the National Occupation Classification Code for Canada. And what it does is just classifies all the occupations that exist into distinct categories. So there are something like 512 NOC codes, and each code represents a specific occupation. And it was designed way back. NOC codes have been around for at least 20 years, if not longer, because Stats Canada needed a way to provide data about occupations in Canada. And NOC codes are used a lot for labor market reports. And as in my slide here, 516 NOC codes currently exist. So there's 516 occupations that are listed in NOC. Does that make sense, Han?
Yes, it does. That's a lot of classification. 516 of them. Wow.
Yeah, 516 different occupations. So it is used for employment-related program administration, and with NOC codes, you can now analyze, compile, communicate information, all based on NOC. And one of the best examples would be labor market information. If you take a look at any type of labor market data, they are able to provide some very good stats, dashboards, on what's happening with different occupations. And it was developed by both Statistics Canada and we call it ESDC, the Employment and Social Development Canada. So, like I said, it's been in existence for over 20 years. It will be in existence for a long time because it's the classification of occupations.
Mm-hmm.
What's important here is there's NOC 2016 and NOC 2021. So I'm going to ask you this question. How often are NOC codes revised? And you may not know, but take a guess.
Take a guess. I know this because I saw your slides already.
Oh, okay.
Time. But normally I would have I would not know. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting that you have 2016 and 2021.
Yeah, well, the answer is right there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. If you can do simple math, then it's 5 years.
Yeah,
So
correct. And it looks like majority of our audience member knows that it's every 5 years.
it's either
Maybe
that or they looked at my slide and they did the math and they said, "Oh, it must be 5 years."
well, yeah, your slide previously 2016 to 2021. So you're like, oh, okay,
Oh, yeah, it must be five. Must be
must be
five.
five. Must be five. So
Yeah.
you are correct. Yeah.
So the very first NOC codes appeared in 1991, and they make structural revisions every 10 years. So every 10 years, they go through and they say, okay, do the codes, do we need more? More classifications? Do we need more numbers? So every 10 years that happens. And every 5 years, the codes are upgraded. For example, in 2016, if you were to look up cybersecurity, they did not have an occupation code for cybersecurity. Did you know that?
That is interesting. Or
If
even
you looked
prompt
at,
in the future, prompt engineering for ChatGPT.
well, exactly. So back in 2016, there were some occupations that weren't in the NOC code, so they had to kind of create and upgrade and update the classification. Um,
Can,
uh,
can you repeat,
yep.
Denise? I think Lovepreet was saying, can you please repeat? Can you, what you said about
Oh,
cyber? Yeah, how it
cyber.
was and then now.
Yeah, in 2016, there was not a NOC code for cybersecurity because it was a relatively new field.
Right.
So now it's 2021. They were able to add those occupations that are the like cybersecurity, like data analyst, and there's a number of other into the NOC code category.
Yeah.
So 2021 is represents not only the 5-year cycle, but also the 10-year cycle to really revamp the numbering system. So that's the big thing between 2016 and 2021. So 2016, if you were to look up a NOC code, it would look different than 2021 because StatsCan and ESDC made some changes.
Exactly. And Gutenberg
So
AI
yeah,
specialists are coming up in 2026. So wait until it changes, right? Even prompt
that's
engineering,
right.
we were saying prompt engineers that are very brand new, that are maybe not here yet. Completely agree. It's always changing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right here, AI specialist is coming up in 2026 for sure.
Yes.
And the next, what they call structural revision, will happen in 2031.
Right. Interesting.
Oh, mm-hmm. So it's a good idea to take a look at the structure for 2016 because a lot of people are still talking about the NOC codes, the 4-digit NOC codes. And when you see 4 digits for the NOC code, they're talking about NOC 2016.
The old one. Okay.
The old one. The old one had 4 codes. Okay, and there's the structure. And so I have a question for you. Give us an example of an occupation, because this will lead into my next slide.
ABC, purchaser, data analyst.
Yeah.
I don't know what an
Yeah.
ABC is.
Uh,
Manager,
yeah.
specialist,
Yeah.
immigration.
Manager is not an occupation. Funny, manager is not an occupation. Because you have managers that can be a data analyst and you're a manager.
Right. Or
Video,
retail support. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But you get the hang of this. These are occupations. So if you look at the occupations, each occupation that you listed here will have a specific NOC code.
Right. Right.
But if I ask you, okay, give us an example of a skill, because there's a difference between an occupation and a skill. Yeah, playing is a skill. People management is a skill. Videography, teaching, those are all skills. So there's a difference between skills and occupation. And where people are challenged with NOC codes, they think it's a skill, but it's not a skill, it's an occupation. And for that occupation, you need a certain skill to do that job. So in NOC codes, whether it's 2016 or 2021, they have the occupational category, but within the NOC codes itself, it looks at what skill do you need to do that job. And usually that's education and training. Got it?
Okay, skill level is determined by the education and training required to get entry into an occupation. So it's not
That's right.
necessarily a higher level, it's just to enter into that job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And what the new NOC codes, the 2021 NOC code, is they factor in experience and the complexity and responsibilities for that particular job. And you could think of this as how much education do I need in order to do that particular job based on the skill. Okay.
Okay.
So the structure in for 2016, they had 9 categories. So when the first digit is a 0, it's a management occupation. If the first digit is a 1, it's business finance, so on and so forth. So in 2016, this is the structure that they use. So you look at the first digit, it will tell you what is the broad occupation category. So what's the bucket? What's the box? So if you're in engineering, you would be in bucket number 2. So all NOC codes related to engineering, IT would be natural and applied sciences and related occupation.
That would be your first digit out of your 4 digits.
Very first digit of the 4.
Right.
And then the second digit will tell you what the skill level is. Skill level A is a 0 or 1, B is 2 or 3, C is 4 or 5, and D is 6 or 7. First digit will be the broad category, then you get into the skill. Now, the difference between 2016 and 2021 is that they changed it from 4 numbers for the skill level to 6. Okay,
6.
in the second,
6 or 5?
6.
6.
6 grouping, yeah. And here, I'll give you an example on the next one. Here, we'll just skip that one. So there's 6 tier categories ranging from 0 to 5. That's why people say, oh, there's 5, but they forget 0. So 0 to 5 is actually 6. And the second digit is known as tier.
So the second digit has 6 categories, but the NOC code is now 5 digits instead of the original 4. Okay, so 2016 has 4 digits for your NOC codes. 2021 has 5 digits for the NOC code, but in one of them, which is the tier, there you have 6 categories.
That's right. That's where the confusing part is. So this is my diagram here. So the second digit will be will range from 0 to 5. Sorry, the 2021 NOC code is 5 digits long, and the second digit is known as the tier. Okay? That's the confusing part.
That is confusing. Yes.
No, is it everybody okay? If you're okay, just do a thumbs up or
I,
on the
I
slide.
I think Utam just wants to know what is the difference between NOC and TEER, but I think you're getting into that question soon.
Yeah, NOC is the National Occupation Classification Code. So whether it's 2016 or 2021, it's still a NOC. TEER just refers to the second digit in the 2021 NOC code. Got it?
And I think you're going to explain what those tiers are.
Okay, Gene says, not too clear. That's okay. That's why you're here. And because I want to get you to a point where now you know a little bit of what you don't know, and let's move the pendulum. So let's take a look at civil engineer. So the NOC code 2021 is 21300. So the second digit, the 1, is your tier. See right here, tier. It's the occupation that requires a university degree. So it's a 1.
So there's 5 digits there. There's 21300, 5 digits.
Mm-hmm.
That's your NOC code for civil engineer.
That is correct.
Okay. And so with 2021, that second digit is a representation of the tier.
That is right.
That tier has 6 different categories: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That is correct.
And each those numbers represent, which you will probably go later on, what that means, what kind of university or school level that you need.
That is correct. So if we're to dissect the civil engineering, the first unit is a 2, so that's the occupational category. So that's the box. It's natural and applied sciences and related occupations. So that's the big box. Then you open the box, and now it's, okay, how much education do I need? That's the tier. So tier 1 just means that you usually need a university degree. Number 3 is the major group. So those are professional occupations in engineering, major group 3. Then the sub-major group is civil and mechanical engineering, and the minor group is civil engineering. Okay.
There was a question about like skills A, B, C, and D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Is that's part still here?
That's part of the 2016 NOC.
Yes, because
in 2021, that's right. In 2021, they talk about tier as opposed to skill.
Because Lovepreet was saying, looking for a specific job, and says, is it NOC, A, B, C, and D? But that's using the old NOC 2016, because
That
they're
is
using
correct.
the skills A, skills B. No, now it's being that those skills are replaced by tiers, and there's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiers. So you're not looking at A, B, and C, and D anymore.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. That is correct. And Amirpal was talking about occupations in agriculture and food processing. Well, actually, it's fairly easy because you just Google NOC codes, and I'll show you how you do that. And then you just put in agriculture and food processing, and you'll now see the list of the NOC codes. And I'll give you some examples. And same thing with tier for supervisors, you'll see that as well.
Because
okay.
a tier is talking about the education that's required, right? So
that's right.
As a supervisor, I mean, it depends on what role it is, that tier changes.
Yeah. So what I have up here is the 2021 code, and what I have below is the 2016. So the 2016 NOC code is 4 digits, 2131, civil engineer. Whereas the 2021 code is 21300. But it's the same occupation. And that's where the confusing part is.
Same occupation, But the way that they have broken it down from the skills or now education is different. Before it was
That
based on skill level, which is A,
mhm,
B, C, D. Now it's based on the educational
yeah.
tier.
And the question about NOC A, B, C, and D, it comes from the 2016. So 2016 2131, the skill level was A. Occupational usually require university education. But tier
Right,
is the same thing, but they gave it one, tier one, as opposed to NOC A.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. Later on,
And
we'll answer the question about, like, for the purpose of PR, like, what are we
yeah,
looking at? Yeah, we'll answer
exactly.
that question.
Yeah, and this Islam, we will provide you with the recording, a link to the recording, and a copy of the slide deck if you would like it. Just send us an email.
Yeah.
So why was there a change? Well, Stats Canada and ESDC, they found that the skill level was really confusing, and they wanted to avoid, low skill versus high skill occupations, and they want to focus on occupation, not skills. So they came up with the 5-digit NOC code. So that's the reason. They want to focus on occupation and not skill. So, so these changes really improve how the NOC classification considers the distinction between formal training and educational requirements. And I'll give you some more examples. So I did side-by-side comparison. 2016 has 4 digits, 2021, 5 digits. 2016, they look at skills levels as A, B, C, and D. And the second for 2021, it's known as a tier, levels 0 to 5. So 0 and 1 are usually university, 2 and 3 is college, then 4 is some type of schooling, 5 is no education, all experience. Then they have the same major groups, sub-major groups, minor groups. So 2016 had 500 NOC codes, 2021, 16. All good? Just go in the chat, or you can click right on, if you're in Mentimeter, just click on the thumbs up. Okay,
I think
somebody
somebody
wants to
was
go back.
asking one slide back. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Okay, for sake of time, I do need to go to the
Or,
next slide
yeah.
here.
You will get a copy of the recording, of course, so you can have a look at it.
Exactly. I just want to spend just a few minutes on TEER, because this is what's really important and the most significant change between 2016 and 2021. So TEER has 6 categories, like you said, 0 to 5. People think, oh, there's 5, but you forget to count the 0. So 0 to 5 is actually 6. And tier 0 is management occupations. So any management occupation will have tier 0, and usually management occupations require to have a higher level of education. So tier 1 is university degree, could be bachelor's, master's, or PhD, or several years of experience in a specific occupation from a tier 2 category. So that's where you need an immigration consultant or immigration lawyer once you go through your PR, so that you make sure that you meet the requirements. Tier 2 is usually post-secondary education, 2 to 3 years at a community college, CEGEP, or Institute of Technology, or completion of an apprenticeship training program of 2 to 5 years. Tier 3 is a post-secondary education program less than 2 years. And tier 4 is high school, and tier 5 is short work experience, no formal education. So 0 to 5. Han, does that make sense?
Yes, that works.
Okay, it was a question about which tier is manager in retailer. What you need to do is take a look at retail first, and then in the NOC, and then it will give you a complete description of what that tier is. And okay.
Could
Uh,
you please share an example of tier 0 of
yeah,
management occupations?
yeah, we'll come to that. I've
Okay.
got that in the slide. So here's the tier levels. 0 is management, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here's the impact on PR. For express entry, they now are looking at your tier level. That's why it's important for you to be working off of 2021 NOC codes and not 2016. And tier is a second digit. Okay. So tier 2, it's a college diploma. Tier 1 is requires a degree. In management occupations, and here is some examples of tier 0, GOTAM, human resources managers, engineering managers, legislators.
Mhm. There is a question in the Q&A that says, which NOC is considered a good NOC? I don't know if
There's really not a good NOC. The good NOC is, for the purpose of PR, and it'll be after this slide. I just want to do this and then go to the next slide.
yeah.
IRCC will use NOC codes to assess your work experience by skill type and skill level. So for any of these programs to immigrate to Canada, you need a certain NOC code level. And specifically for express entry, which most of you are going to be participating in, you need to be in tier 0, 1, 2, and 3. And these are education levels in Canada.
Right.
It's
I
not
think if it's evaluated as equivalent to in Canada, a
yeah,
bachelor's degree, then it has
that
to, yeah,
qualifies.
it qualifies. So your
Mhm.
education doesn't necessarily have to be in Canada, but your evaluation of it being equivalent to a Canadian university, college,
Mhm.
etc., would
And
have to
that's why
be.
you need advice from an immigration consultant or immigration lawyer, because they're the ones that are going to prepare your paperwork. And for those of you who are not familiar with the acronym IRCC, that's Immigration, Refugees, Citizenship Canada. Is that correct, Han?
IRCC,
IRCC.
Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. That's a federal responsibility, and IRCC is responsible for not only issuing your study permits or postgraduate work permit, but also immigration.
Yeah.
So this slide is key. So for express entry, when you're applying for PR, you need to be in tier 0, 1, 2, and 3. If you're in 4 and 5, you won't qualify. And I pulled this straight from the website. I just kind of did screenshots. So, so if you're coming under a Canadian experience class, which is most likely that's the program that you will qualify, it will tell you right in their listing, tier 0, 1, 2, and 3. Same thing for the federal skilled worker program. And it also defines your language skills. Again, the importance of you getting advice from an immigration consultant or an immigration lawyer. We are here just to provide you some foundational knowledge so you know what questions to ask. So I'll give you an example. Data scientist, NOC code 2021, 5 digits, 2021. If you see 4 digits, then it's 2016. 21211. So Han, how much education do you need?
And number 1, university.
Yeah. Okay. Second digit is your tier.
Imagine
Okay.
if I failed that. I
Yeah.
have to do the review
So
again.
So when you go to the NOC code website, it's just Google NOC Canada. You'll see you can just enter data scientist. Make sure you pick 2021. You can do a drop down here and do 2016, but you're wasting your time. So
Now,
2021.
do you
Yep.
have the link to the NOC? Is it this? That's what I see here, the NOC link,
Yep.
right?
That's the one. Yep. That's the
Yep.
one.
So you can click on that and check your NOC or your.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just enter the job title. And what I tell people, if you see a job posting, just put the job title in the job posting here, and you can see what NOC is it. And here's the breakdown. And it gives all this information is given to you when you go to the website. What is the broad occupational category? There's the tier. There's the major group, sub-major group, and the minor group. Okay, so it breaks it right down. So it goes from bigger to, it's like a funnel. So far, so good. Just click on that little thumbs up if you're in Mentimeter, or type in the chat, everything's good, or I don't understand. By now, you should be getting to a point where now I know what I don't know, right?
There are a few questions, but I'll wait and maybe perhaps until you go through some of these slides.
Okay, so this is where it gets really complicated. Supply chain. It's an occupation. And however, if you type supply chain, NOC 2021, you have all of these different NOC codes. Okay, so here's an example of a manager, 110. See, it's a 0 second digit, it's tier 0 manager. And the rest, this is 1 university degree, second digit, 2 college, 3 is college less than 3 years, college less than 3 years, and this is high school. Okay, the second digit will tell you the level of education. So when looking at NOC codes, you may get into the situation, and just take a look at the second digit. Second digit will tell you the education level. And you know, from a PR perspective, you need NOC 0, 1, 2, or 3. But if you have 4, you won't be able to participate in express entry. What do you think?
Just the question again about the eligibility. So that second tier that you were saying, that number there, is it defining the eligibility for express entry or the federal skilled worker or whatnot?
Yeah, because in the previous slide, if I go back, you need tier 0, 1, 2, or 3.
To go through express entry, because you're
that is
the higher education, those points are given to you a lot more.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if I go here, the second digit, 0, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. So all of these qualify except for the last one.
Right, because it's not a high enough education. What
That's
express
right.
entry is looking for.
That's right. And if you are a purchasing agent, well, you're either purchasing manager or you're purchasing agent. So it's either 12102 or 10012.
I think it'd be interesting for everybody to try to use that NOC code website and just play around with it. Now that you have some level of understanding of it, that it'll be clear with you as you start to, enter in different occupations.
That is right. And on the last column, if you're not sure, you can always look at the job titles. Yeah, and GoTam, yeah, you're absolutely right. If you have less than a college level of education, you won't qualify. And that's what the tier shows you, the second digit. Okay. So the next one here, I'm going to skip that one.
Should we say it doesn't qualify, or maybe perhaps in the fact that you have so many competing for the express entry that they usually give it to the highest points, and so if you have a lower education level, you don't have as many points. Is that how it usually works, right?
Yeah, it has to do with points, but that's where an immigration consultant and an immigration lawyer can help, because they can say, okay, based on your education, based on there's age, your language level, there's a lot of factors that come into play. This is the best way to get through PR And this is the best pathway. But
Right.
we are not immigration consultants. We're not immigration lawyers. We're here to provide you with that. Now I know what I don't know, and now you know how to ask the right questions.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to skip that one. So the goal we wanted to achieve today was to get you from now I don't know what I don't know. Now I know what I don't know. Now you can do something about it.
You have a lot of questions, Denis.
Okay.
Are you ready for some of the questions?
Yeah, let me just go back here and see what. Uh, Let me just do a recap,
Okay, I think
and then
that
we'll
works.
do. So, NOC, the National Occupation Classification Code, is the classification systems for all occupations in Canada. So there's 516 occupations that have a code. It's used for program administration, the labor market information, and PR. 2021 is the latest version, and it's revised every 5 years. So the next revision will be 2026. So that's something for you to be aware of. The 2021 has 5 numbers, of which the second digit is the tier level. Okay. And for express entry, you need occupations in tier 0, 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Okay. So questions.
Okay, I'm going to go to the Q&A because I want to make sure that those individuals who ask questions are there. So Anonymous writes, I'm on a postgraduate work permit. My job is in applied research. The job title I have in the job offer is a project coordinator or
Mm-hmm.
principal investigator in research. I can't find such a title under NOC, and I'm cautious not to misrepresent my NOC when applying for my PR. Based
Mm-hmm.
on the job description, there are 2 NOCs that seem relevant. These are 211 or 21109. How would you advise one to go about this? Seems like
Talk to
an yeah.
yeah, talk to an immigration consultant and immigration lawyer. Uh, they will provide you with the best advice because they know the different immigration pathways. Um, uh, uh, Let me just open up the Q&A so we can look at the question.
At the same time, yeah. And maybe perhaps because we do have a immigration Q&A session with Elizabeth every month. And so what I can do is I can find her contact and just put it
Mm.
there as well if anybody wants to contact.
Now, anonymous, based on the NOC code, if you look at the second digit 20011, that's management, and the other one is 21109. So the 1 means university degree. So it depends on whether your job is, if you're managing, then it's 20011. But if you're not in management, then it's 21109. Okay.
I just typed in our immigration consultants that we have on a monthly basis. Elizabeth, she's the person who talks in our, I guess, sessions. That's her email and her phone number if you'd like to get some work. Now, if you do call them, please let them know that you have been referred by Devant because there is a discount for Devant clients.
Okay, so
Next
we
one.
answered that one.
Yeah. If someone is working as a as a part of technology graduate program, then oh, then would that person come under any NOC code?
Well, it would definitely be under a NOC code that starts with the 2, because that's the occupation, that's the broad category for technology. So my advice there is to either talk to your international department at school or to an immigration consultant, because it has to look they'd have to look at what's part of that technology program.
Yeah. What if a person has a master's and has a management occupation? Which
Well,
tier would they fall under? Well, it's a master's degree.
Yeah. So master's, what tier would that be, huh?
That's a university.
Yeah, university. So
So
it would be a
one.
0 or a 1,
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah,
And if it's management, then it's a 0.
it's a 0. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Under what tier does the 2-year PGD come under? So I don't know PGD. Is it postgraduate? But I don't
Diploma.
see diploma.
It's a
Okay.
yeah, a 2-year postgraduate diploma. Um, I am not sure about that one. And that's where you need to talk to an immigration consultant, immigration lawyer, or to your international department.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because it could be considered as a postgraduate, so tier 1, or it can be a tier 2, which is a college diploma, or it can be less than 2 years. And maybe Sisha knows that answer. So Sisha, if you can just type that in the chat, um, that would be helpful. Next
Mm-hmm.
question.
Soshin says, I'd like to know if the job is counted based on title or responsibility. Let's say if I work for tier 2 responsibility, but my job title is tier 5. I think there's a confusion with the tiers for responsibility versus job title.
That is correct. Yeah. So
Yeah.
tier has to do with your education level.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the responsibilities are listed, and that's where you need to talk to an immigration consultant and an immigration lawyer, because the last thing we want to see you is you're on your postgraduate permit and you assume that you're in tier 0, 1, 2, and 3, but you're definitely but your job, your actual occupation is rated as a 4, then you won't qualify for PR.
Okay. Jash asks, I am an IT technician. This is
Mm-hmm.
my job post. Okay, so NOC
Mm-hmm.
code, if based on 2021, is this number 22221.
Mm-hmm.
User support technician, but IT technician is not under the job. So I think they're trying to find the exact job title
Mm-hmm.
for, but you sometimes you can't find the exact. You have to look at what the activities or that's under 2221 to see if it matches what you do.
That is correct. You just go to to the ESDC website that Han put in the chat, and just put in 22221, and then it should give you a lot of the job titles in the drop down. So take a look and see if IT technician comes up.
Yeah.
And it's the word technician, because there's a difference between a technician and a technologist.
Mm-hmm.
Technologist has a higher value than a technician.
Okay. Now, if one has a university degree not from Canada, then would that be considered in tier 1?
That is that's a question for an immigration lawyer, immigration consultant.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, because it's like, what's the evaluation? Is it equivalent to?
Yeah, yeah, it has to do with the equivalencies. Yeah.
Yeah. If my level of education in Canada is a postgraduate certificate program in human resources management, can I work in banking operations?
Elizabeth, that's a very good question, and that's something that you'll need to ask a lawyer, immigration lawyer, or immigration consultant, because it can have an impact on your PR. I'd hate for you to work in banking operations, and then they look at, well, your study permit was in HR, yet you're working more in a administrative role, not related to human resources. So that's something I would ask an immigration consultant or immigration lawyer.
Right. Second question is, do different tier have different CRS score? Example, tier 0 has 10 CRS points and tier 1 has 8 CRS points. Well, that's I guess an immigration question.
Yeah, that's an immigration lawyer question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can we review the recording later?
We will send you the link.
Yeah, we'll automatically send you the link. Any guesses how 2026 NOC might look like? Crystal ball, specifically regarding restrictions and it's going to open up
Uh,
more occupations?
My guess is that you're not going to see any structural changes. You'll still have the 5 digits, but what they're going to do is probably add some more occupations. So we'll go from 516 occupations to maybe 521, 525 occupations.
Right, right.
There was a question we missed there. I manage research staff 20011. That kind of makes sense because if you're a manager, then it would be tier 0.
Right, right. This person says, I'm sorry, I might have missed this, but like, what do we have to put in the search box for
In the
the
search box, the job title, the job title. That's my first step.
and job titles only in Canada, or could it be jobs from
No,
your?
it has to be in Canada.
Yeah. Okay. I'm working as a construction field coordinator. I'm not sure about my NOC code. I guess try to go into that NOC, that link
Yep.
that we gave you, and try to type in that occupation there to find
Yeah,
it.
and Aman, now you have more information based on this webinar to actually go in and take a look, and things will make more sense.
Mm-hmm. Does management occupation consider people management, or what's IC roles also? I don't know.
Yeah,
When you're typing, make sure to write the whole thing, because sometimes acronyms we're not too quite sure about. So I don't know what this question is.
IC is individual contributor.
Oh,
Gotam, that's a question for an immigration consultant. That's why
right.
they charge what they charge, because they're providing that advice. And I would rather you get the right advice, and if it costs you a little bit of money, at least you're getting some good advice.
So this Emery Paul says, I did my 4-year degree in agriculture, Bachelor of Science, right, back home in India, but doing my postgraduate diploma in Canada. What tier will I be? That's what I think he's.
Again, that would be an immigration consultant, immigration lawyer. But based on what I see here, it could be either definitely not a 0 or 1, because that's university. It would be either a 2 or a 3.
Right.
It could be considered a 1 if the immigration consultant, immigration lawyer says, well, that's equivalent to a master's program.
Right.
Okay.
Alba writes, for the purpose of applying for express entry, must the work experience be relevant to the program of study in Canada?
My understanding is yes, but to be definitive, I would talk to your international department or to an immigration consultant or immigration lawyer.
Yeah. Okay. I have a bachelor's degree, but the length of my studies were only 2 years. I attended the Australian university, where the length of study is usually between 2 to 3. Well, like what do I fall under? What tier?
Probably 1, because you have your bachelor degree. If it's an equivalency here in Canada, it would be a 1.
But check with an immigration lawyer too.
Absolutely.
I have a 5+ year of customer success management experience, CSM, with a blue chip company, and a 10+ year overall work experience. Got a bachelor's degree from university and an OGC in Canada. What NOC and TEER would that be?
Well, what you'd have to do is go onto the SDC website. I would start off by putting down customer success management and filter that down. It definitely would be either probably a tier 1, because it's a university degree.
Okay, I think we've got a minute left, and there's a lot of questions and a lot of thank you, but maybe I'll do something quick. Does STEM fall under NOC codes? STEM, like science, technology.
STEM, of course it does, but it's occupation. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. So
yeah, they're so broad.
Yeah. And by the way, I put up another one of my last 2 slides here to get some feedback.
Right. Are the IRCC point system transparent?
I don't know. That's an immigration lawyer and immigration consultant question.
Yeah, exactly. Should we do 2 more?
Yeah, let's do 2 more. And
Okay.
if you can just go to Mentimeter and answer the following 2 questions, that would be great.
Okay, great. I'm doing my postgraduate diploma in agribusiness management and got my co-op as a personal tax processor in a taxation company that files taxes for small businesses and farms. Under which tier can I be?
Well, postgraduate diploma, so it's definitely not university. So it would be probably a 2, and it could be a 3. But again, that's where you need to talk to an immigration lawyer, immigration consultant.
And try that NOC site, right? To just play
Yep.
around. Yeah.
Yep.
Now that you know a little bit more, and you know what you don't know, and you know what to ask.
Exactly. Exactly.
What is it? I have a bachelor's degree, but the length of my study were only 2 years. I'm currently attending a postgraduate in school in Canada. I attended an Australian university. Okay, I think this was the same question.
Yep.
I am a university graduate. Can I work in tier 2 jobs, which required college?
Sure. Sure. Why not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. And I think that was it. So I think we answered all the questions from
Good.
the Q&A. So thank you, Denis. This has been very, very insightful. Do we have the poll for the audience?
Yeah, I've got our last one, and it's how did we do today?
Yes, please. Love to get your
So
feedback.
give us some feedback. This is our very first webinar on this topic. We plan on doing more, and your feedback is really important to us. What we really like to know is, was this helpful? Did we get you to a place where you don't know what you don't know to now I know what I don't know, and now I can ask the right questions when I meet with my immigration consultant or immigration lawyer. And as Han mentioned, we do work closely with Law and McGelgy Law. We have an immigration Q&A every month. And if you do contact them, say that you heard of them through us, and they will provide you with a discount.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Denis, for the session today, and looking forward to many more sessions together.
And I thank everyone for coming out on a Thursday night to participate, and also a shout out to my friend Patrick from Vancouver, who is a big supporter of what we do here, and Sisha and Pretty, who were able to answer some questions.
Right, absolutely, yes, and all the recordings will be sent to you.
Yep. And we have a number of free events. If you go to our website and you go to under events, we have at least 5 or 6 events per month, and there's actually no cost. And our goal is to get you from a place where I don't know what I don't know to now I know what I don't know.
Absolutely, that's where our immigration Q&A sessions are held. The listing of the next one. All right.
Cool.
Thank you, Denis, and thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the evening.